I'm Elliot Kleinberg, and this is Something Went Horribly Wrong, a blog about better writing. Segment 91. Huh? Did you ever see a line that jumps out at you from the page or TV screen or your computer and think, well, that sentence doesn't make sense? You also might have said, I'm not a professional. If I noticed that goof instantly, why didn't the writers or editors? Well, we're thinking the same thing. Number one, the Lincoln Memorial is located along the infamous National Mall along with the Washington Monument. It's a very beautiful monument that's well worth a visit. This blogger was so enthusiastic, she forgot that infamous is not the same as famous. Lincoln, famous. John Wilkes Booth, infamous. Next, emergency responders found victims, including the third fatal person who died, in that building as well. Oh, what's a fatal person who died? Next, any pet that is noisy will not be allowed to remain in the park. Well, we covered this back in 2021. You don't allow or forbid a dog to do anything. It's a dog. What you say is, if any pet is noisy, the owner will have to remove it from the park. Next, I hope this letter finds you well. We talked in 2023 about formality gone overboard. We hope someone finds us well. Better than, I hope this letter finds you dead somewhere in a ditch. Wouldn't you say? It gets better. How about an inanimate object, in this case a letter, can't find anything? Next, Lufthansa points out that it entered the pandemic with a wide-body fleet made up of 50% wide-bodies. Next, mother of convicted rapist found dead with 6 other people in Oklahoma is searching for answers. The writer of this unintelligible mess reposted it later with 2 critical words added, and then it made sense. Mother of convicted rapist who was found dead with 6 other people in Oklahoma is searching for answers. It's still pretty unwieldy and begs a lot of questions, and by the way, searching for answers is a brutal cliche. Next, the congressman might be one of the most controversial people in Washington, D.C., but there is no shortage of love for him in his home district. A crowd of well over 100 people showed up at whatever. Well, in 2022, we dealt with TV reporters somehow professing to know how an entire community feels. In this case, we go after a print reporter. A congressional district has about 700,000 people. If 100 show up at a rally for a guy, how can a reporter make the leap that most of the 700,000 people love him? Next, soldiers from the United States, South Korea, and local residents came together. We covered the maligned comma back in 2021. Here's what this writer just said. Soldiers from the United States, soldiers from South Korea, soldiers from local residents. That's obviously not what he meant. Correct would be soldiers from the United States and South Korea, as well as local residents. By the way, came together is a brutal cliche. Next, homophobic. We know this has become part of the lexicon, but it really isn't right. It's not. You know that phobia doesn't mean hate, it means fear. Now, some would argue that people who hate LGBTQ people might really be afraid of them. Well, that's for another day. Next, I'm more than happy to attend. Well, how can you be more than happy? How does that work? Physically. Next time, I don't know and I don't care. I'm Elliot Kleinberg. Visit www.ekfla.com. That's ekfla.com.